Ethan Blake here, and the nonsense meter just broke again. Tonight's episode features a full-grown adult trying to outsmart facts with a mix of arrogance, confusion, and PowerPoint slides. It's like watching a TED Talk from a parallel universe where logic went extinct. But hey, content is content. So I'll sift through the mess, pull out the comedy gems, and roast what's left. No filter, no mercy, just pure uncut commentary. Sit back and enjoy as we turn stupidity into sport and hypocrisy into highlight reels.
Joe and Mika Brzezinski Scarborough, who famously warned of the growing threat of Trump's fascism, also had an interesting announcement to make.
And this one?
And for those asking why we would go speak to the president-elect during such fraught times, especially between us, I guess I would ask, why wouldn't we?
Because you said he was Hitler.
Apparently, Jon Stewart's brutal takedown of Joe and Mika quickly turned into a full-on roast fest. Even former MSNBC insider Keith Olbermann jumped in, slamming them as grifters and con artists. Media critic Jeff Jarvis didn't hold back either, accusing them of betraying the very idea of democracy. Things escalated fast when the MSNBC power couple clapped back, but their response blew up in their faces. And just when it seemed to be settling down, Stewart returned with even more fire, exposing their hypocrisy and shattering whatever credibility they had left. We've got all the clips, the most jaw-dropping quotes, and the fallout that followed. Buckle up. You don't want to miss a single second of this takedown.
Retribution against political opponents and media outlets.
Oh, I bet you really laid down the gauntlet, Joe. I bet you walked in there and just let him have it, didn't you, Joey? We've learned nothing!
After getting roasted by fellow leftists and Democrats, Joe and Mika Brzezinski fired back with a weak, almost laughable clapback that only made things worse.
So I just want to say thank you, first of all, to everybody who was so kind last night, but also thank you. Willie, yesterday I saw for the first time what a massive disconnect there was between social media and the real world. Because we were flooded with phone calls from people all day, literally around the world. Very positive, very supportive.
Joe and Mika kicked things off by claiming there's a huge disconnect between social media and real life, as if we'd all forgotten the countless times they publicly trashed Trump. Then, right on cue, they launched into their usual spin, bragging about international support. But here's the truth. While they imagined applause, the internet was absolutely dragging them from every direction. The praise they expected? Nowhere to be found. What they actually got was a flood of criticism and backlash. Let's take a look at Joe and Mika's awkward clapback, and then I'll show you Jon Stewart's epic takedown that completely dismantled their narrative. You won't want to miss it.
But once in a while I would get a text or a call from someone and go, oh man, I hope you're doing okay. And I call him back and I go, well, Eddie Gladwell's one of them. I go, Eddie, are you on Twitter? And he goes, I am. I go, okay, well, I'm not. So we've had a good day. Mika just had a wonderful event, and it's fantastic. We're going to do all of us are going to do the best we can do, and we're all working towards a better America.
Take it day by day.
Day by day. And again, you can predict the future by shaping the future.
No, Joe, your facial expressions, mannerisms, and body language say otherwise.
No, Joe, your facial expressions, body language, and nervous mannerisms say otherwise. You're clearly not okay. No one expects a full breakdown on live TV, but it's obvious you're feeling the pressure from being relentlessly dragged across Twitter and every social media platform. Behind that forced smile and shaky confidence, the cracks are showing. You've built your career on spin, bluster, and carefully packaged charm, but even the best mask slips when the heat is on. So go ahead, keep insisting everything's fine. But those watching can see the truth. You're unraveling, one smug deflection at a time, and the performance just isn't working anymore. The spotlight's on, and it's not flattering.
The entire piece, but it's worth it.
About wokeness? I couldn't even stay woke through that whole thing.
Jon Stewart didn't just shrug off Joe and Mika's clapback, he called it exactly what it was. Weak, toothless, and completely lacking in substance. And honestly, he was spot on. Their response had no bite, no depth, just a smug, hollow attempt at damage control. If that was meant to be a rebuttal, it failed spectacularly. It landed with a thud, not a punch. So here's the real question. What did you actually take away from that cringeworthy display? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I'm genuinely curious to hear your take on this train wreck. Meanwhile, Jon Stewart stepped right into the chaos, and let's just say, all hell broke loose from there.
I think we make a mistake focusing this all on Donald Trump as though he's, I don't know, Magneto and some incredible supervillain that has changed the very nature and temperature of the United States. Like, he's just been an effective vessel. But again, like, he's not singing new songs. I think it's a mistake to focus it all on this one individual.
Jon Stewart went full beast mode, unleashing a no-holds-barred takedown of Joe Scarborough for his obsessive fixation on Donald Trump, all while ignoring the real everyday struggles of working-class Americans. Stewart didn't just offer criticism, he peeled back the layers and exposed the hollow core of Scarborough's commentary. While average Americans are battling rising costs, broken healthcare, crushing student debt, and economic uncertainty, Scarborough continues to spin the same anti-Trump narrative like a broken jukebox. Instead of focusing on the systemic issues hurting the middle and lower classes, Joe remains stuck in a ratings-driven loop, chasing approval and applause from a coastal elite bubble, completely disconnected from reality. Stewart's message was crystal clear. Trump may be a problem, but MSNBC's deliberate refusal to address economic suffering is a betrayal of the people they claim to support. When media figures like Scarborough prioritize endless Trump bashing over advocating real reform, they're not resisting the problem. They're enabling it. In that moment, Stewart didn't just challenge Joe. He called out an entire media mindset that values narrative over truth and performance over substance. And the audience felt every word.
Let's hear it for Democratic politicians who keep it real. Senator Alyssa Slotkin of Michigan says Democrats are, quote, weak and woke and should get some goddamn alpha energy and need to fucking retake the flag.
To Bill Maher, Joe Scarborough is fighting the wrong battle. Instead of wasting time clashing with fellow Democrats, Maher believes Scarborough should be focused on the real threat, preventing Republicans from reclaiming power. According to Maher, this kind of infighting only weakens the left and plays directly into the hands of their political opponents. He reinforced his point by spotlighting Democratic Congresswoman Alyssa Slotkin's powerful message, urging her party to reclaim the flag and national symbols that conservatives have co-opted. For Maher, this isn't about party purity or media egos. It's about unity, strategy, and survival in a high-stakes political war. Scarborough, in Maher's view, needs to stop the petty squabbles and recognize the larger battle ahead. The focus should be on coalition building and reclaiming the narrative, not internal feuds that divide the base and dilute the message.
Seriously, this is a serious problem for Democrats. Less than 1 in 4 Democrats under 30 say they're proud to be an American. 54% say they're embarrassed by it. Embarrassed? Like America's your mom picking you up at school? You're embarrassed to be an American? Well, guess what? The feeling's mutual. Because you have no perspective. Is America perfect? No, of course not. No country is.
I bring up these clips to shine a light on the deeper, more dangerous impact caused by Joe Scarborough, Mika Brzezinski, and the broader MSNBC media machine. This goes beyond political commentary. It's about the slow decay of trust, pride, and hope among young Democrats. Through fear-mongering, hypocrisy, and hollow outrage, they've chipped away at the core of what it means to believe in America. They've managed to convince an entire generation to resent the very country that gave them freedom, opportunity, and prosperity. That's why voices like Jon Stewart and Bill Maher are speaking out. Because Scarborough and Brzezinski aren't just spreading misinformation, they're undermining the nation from within, all while cloaked in rhetoric that pretends to save democracy. What's truly terrifying is how confidently they do it, as if they're the moral backbone of the left. But when ego, control, and narrative domination take precedence, truth and unity are the first to fall. It's time we stop mistaking volume for value and start identifying the real threat. Not the one shouting the loudest, but the one manipulating the quietest, all while pretending to protect what they're actually helping destroy.
But the U.S. is leagues ahead of the rest of the world on most of the progressive issues that are important to young people. America has 14 million women-owned businesses. 17% of black women are starting businesses, which is faster than white women or white men. Gay Americans are free to marry, and 49% of them own property. Yes, in America, gays buy buildings. In other places, they get thrown off them.
Bill Maher didn't pull any punches as he continued to tear into Joe and Mika, reminding both them and their audience of just how far the United States has come over the past century. From civil rights achievements to technological breakthroughs and growing global influence, Maher emphasized that while imperfect, America has made undeniable progress. He then shifted the conversation to the Trump era, not to glorify it, but to confront an inconvenient truth. Not everything under Trump was a disaster. Maher pointed to key accomplishments, such as historically low unemployment rates before COVID, bipartisan criminal justice reform, and a firm stance on China, policies that many Democrats now echo. His message wasn't to endorse Trump, but to highlight the real danger of partisan tunnel vision. Maher warned young Americans against buying into the doom and gloom narrative peddled by MSNBC pundits, who profit from stoking division and outrage. According to Maher, when journalists twist every story to fit a political agenda, truth is the first casualty, and democracy soon follows. His call was clear: reject hysteria, embrace nuance, and don't let the media's obsession with political warfare blind you to the bigger picture. Truth matters more than spin, and it's time we start acting like it.
Globalize the intifada is the catchphrase that's really catching on these days, as if worldwide suicide bombing and cosplaying Islamic revolutionaries is the answer to our problems. At an AOC Bernie Sanders rally in Idaho last month, someone threw a Palestinian flag over an American flag, and the crowd erupted in approval. What should have happened after that is one of the adults on stage should have told their young, loyal followers, this is not a symbol of freedom. This is.
Unfortunately, the very people who are supposed to guide the next generation, the so-called adults in the room, are often the ones spreading the most dangerous lies. And because they're the ones pushing the narrative, they have zero incentive to tell the truth. Instead, they promote distorted worldviews, teaching young minds that Israel is always the aggressor and Palestine eternally the victim, completely ignoring context and history. They preach that biology is meaningless, that men can become women at will, and that gender is just a flexible social construct to be redefined on a whim. Meanwhile, figures like Bernie Sanders speak passionately about class warfare while flying around in private jets, condemning billionaires as he enjoys all the perks of the very capitalist system he criticizes. It's rank hypocrisy dressed up as moral authority, and the worst part, it's being sold to impressionable youth as truth. When ideology replaces facts and emotional manipulation takes the place of honest discussion, society begins to lose its grip on reality. But here's the good news. People are waking up. The lies are being exposed, and the cracks are showing. Just watch the clip we're about to show, and you'll see exactly what we mean.
As Pam mentioned, there's an illegal alien from El Salvador. With respect to you, he's a citizen of El Salvador. So it's very arrogant even for American media to suggest that we would even tell El Salvador how to handle their own citizens as a start. And I can promise you, if he was your neighbor, you would move right away.
So you don't plan to ask for his help to get him back? Is that your position? Well,
no version of this legally ends up with him ever living here because he is a citizen of El Salvador. That is the president of El Salvador. Your questions about it per the court can only be directed to him.
I asked President Bukele, can President Bukele weigh in on this? Do you plan to return him?
Well, I suppose you're not suggesting that I smuggle a terrorist into the United States.
Well, Mr. President, you said that if the Supreme Court said someone needed to be returned, that you would abide by that. You said that on Air Force One just a few days ago. And they said that it must be facilitated.
Why don't you just say, isn't it wonderful that we're keeping criminals out of our country? Why can't you just say that?
These people wouldn't recognize the truth if it hit them square in the face. And even if they did, They'd never admit it. Instead, they cling to spin, peddle shameless propaganda, and twist facts beyond recognition, all in the name of protecting their carefully crafted narratives. Honesty and accountability have taken a backseat to winning the culture war, at any cost. Take illegal immigration, for example. Donald Trump has made it crystal clear that his aim is to restore order and uphold the rule of law by removing those who entered the country unlawfully, many of whom pose threats to public safety and community stability. But the Democrats? They don't view it as a national security issue. They see a political opportunity. They'd rather defend open borders and criminal aliens if it helps them score points with their voter base. The result is a broken system, exploited laws, and a country burdened by political theater and tribal gamesmanship. What we're witnessing is the slow erosion of truth, replaced by media performance and blind loyalty. Figures like Joe and Mika, propped up by MSNBC, aren't informing the public. They're manipulating it. Every dramatic outburst, every distorted headline drives deeper division into the heart of the nation. Meanwhile, voices like Jon Stewart and Bill Maher are simply calling for what used to be common ground: honesty, reason, and perspective. They're not asking for partisanship. They're begging for clarity. If we can't even agree on basic reality, how can we possibly fix anything? The choice we face is stark. Wake up or keep sleepwalking through a media-created illusion. If you've made it this far, you already know which side you're on. That wraps up today's video. If you found value in this message, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who needs to hear it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.